Most people think Nike was built in a boardroom. It wasn't. It was built in a parking lot, in the dark, by a guy who was lying about who he was. And the most insane part? That lie, told to a room full of Japanese executives in 1962, is the only reason you're wearing Nike shoes today. This is the story they never put in the commercials. In the next 8 minutes, you're going to find out exactly how a middle-class kid from Oregon built the most recognizable brand on planet Earth through betrayal, near bankruptcy, and one $35 design decision that changed business history forever. Stay till the end, because the final fact in this story is something even most Nike fans have never heard. Phil Knight was not a genius. He was not a visionary. He was just a runner who hated bad shoes. It was 1962. Knight had just graduated from Stanford Business School. For his thesis, he had written a simple but bold paper. The idea was this: what if cheap, high-quality Japanese shoes could destroy the German shoe market in America? At the time, a German brand called Adidas owned American sports. Every serious athlete wore Adidas. It felt untouchable. But Knight noticed something. Japanese cameras had just beaten German cameras on price and quality. Could Japanese shoes do the same thing? So he did something bold. He flew to Japan with very little money, walked into a factory called Onitsuka Tiger, and introduced himself as a representative of an American shoe company. But there was one problem. That company didn't exist yet. He made up a name on the spot: Blue Ribbon Sports. A company with no employees, no office, no product, just a name and a handshake. The Japanese executives asked him, "So, Mr. Knight, what territory do you represent?" He said, without hesitating, "The entire Western United States." Knight and his old college running coach Bill Bowerman officially founded Blue Ribbon Sports on January 25th, 1964, with $500 each. Total investment? $1,000. Knight's office? The trunk of his green Plymouth Valiant. He drove to track meets across the Pacific Northwest and sold shoes directly to runners. Bowerman, meanwhile, was obsessed with making better shoes. He would cut shoes apart, study them, and rebuild them. He once poured liquid rubber into his wife's waffle iron, just to test if the waffle pattern would give runners better grip. It worked. That experiment later became the Nike Waffle Trainer, one of the best-selling shoes in history. But money was always the problem. Banks refused to lend to them. They survived year to year, always on the edge. Then, in 1971, two things happened that changed everything. First, their relationship with Onitsuka Tiger collapsed. The Japanese company had been secretly trying to buy them out and take control. Knight found out and walked away. They needed a new brand, a new logo, fast. So, Knight went to a graphic design student at Portland State University named Carolyn Davidson. She worked for 17.5 hours and presented 5 different designs. Knight looked at all of them and picked the swoosh, but his exact words were, "I don't love it, but maybe it'll grow on me." $35 for a logo now worth billions. She didn't even know what she had created. Now renamed Nike after the Greek goddess of victory, the company started growing fast. But in 1977, the US government hit them with a massive customs bill, claiming Nike had been underpaying import taxes for years. The amount was so large, it could have ended the company completely. Knight refused to pay. He fought the government for years, and eventually, he won. While that legal battle was ongoing, Nike made one of the most important bets in sports marketing history. In the year 1984, a young basketball player named Michael Jordan was entering the NBA. Adidas wasn't seriously interested. Converse offered him a basic deal. Nike was barely even a basketball brand at that point. But Nike offered Jordan something no athlete had ever been offered before: his own shoe line, his own brand within Nike, a share of the profits. Jordan himself didn't even want Nike at first. He wanted Adidas. It was his mother who convinced him to just attend the meeting. The Air Jordan 1 launched in 1985. Nike had projected it would make $3 million in its first year. It made $126 million. That single bet didn't just save Nike's basketball division. It permanently changed how athletes and brands work together, a model that every major sports brand now copies. After Jordan, Nike became unstoppable. The brand signed Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Ronaldo, LeBron James, one after another. But the real secret was never just the athletes. It was the marketing. Nike never advertised shoes. They advertised feelings. In 1988, they launched Just Do It, what many experts now call the greatest advertising slogan of the 20th century. The origin of that slogan is a story in itself. It was created by advertising executive Dan Whedon, inspired by a phrase he had read years earlier. He modified it slightly, brought it to Nike, and Phil Knight was actually skeptical at first. He said they didn't need it. Whedon told him, "Just trust me on this one." Nike's market share jumped from 18% to 43% within a decade of that campaign launching. Today, Nike doesn't own a single factory. They design everything and outsource all manufacturing. That asset-light model is now taught in every major business school on Earth. From $1,000 and a car trunk full of shoes to a $90 billion empire. Phil Knight once wrote, "The cowards never started. The weak died along the way." That leaves us. And honestly, that sentence tells you everything about how Nike was built. And that's the real story of Nike. But here's what I want you to think about. Phil Knight lied in a boardroom. Bowerman destroyed his wife's waffle iron. A student got paid $35 for a $1 billion logo. None of them knew what they were building. That's the thing about empires. Nobody plans them. They survive them. Next week, I'm covering a company whose founder was literally cheated out of his own creation and still became a billionaire anyway. Subscribe if you want to find out who. See you then.